Hello, my name is Cormac Matthews and this is my CA2 Special Lighting Effect assignment, which is for a course in DKIT. For the first video, I'll be talking about the depth of field, which is a shader that implement a depth of field to a scene using a Poisson disk kernel. This is randomly generated using a Poisson generator. So first off, we have all these code which are essential to um, the program. So the textures, the rendering targets, the camera, which is needed for this, otherwise it would not work without it. The lighting and the input output. So in the first shader function we come across is the vertex shader, which allow us to add the V flip here if we have a directional texture. This is also where we output the position, the world normal, the view vector, the texture coordinate, and depth. It also store all of them here. In the generating scene shader, uh, this follows the initial vertex shader and generate packed colors, normal map, distortion map, depth uh, data, and then output the color depth and packed VN. In pa pass 2 is all about the light pixel generator, where we take a map and light the scene. Uh, we also In this we also do the diffuse intensity and the specular intensity, and then color depth A is equal to color A, which is the alpha. In pass 3 we we give the user the function of distant focus, distant near, and distant far. This allowed, if I move up here, this allowed the user to change the parameter of the blurriness. We also have the blur scale, so they can change the intensity of the blur. This is the sample offset of the center, north, east, south, and west. This is the disk sample offset which I created using the um, Poisson generator, and then I calculated the number between these two as well as the overall sum of all this here. Okay, in the blur calculated based on depth, we enter into an if statement. Uh, we check if the depth is less than the distant focus. If so, if it so the distant focus is the focus depth between the focus distance and the near depth distant depth. And if is less than them, then the range would be between -1 to 0, else the range would be between 0 to 1. After that, I return the blur from that value, which is a float, and make it between a range of 0 to 1. This is the maximum circle of confusion, which is 43.3 over 150 1500. The In the generator pixel depth of field pixel shader, we take the list scene and apply the Poisson disk depth of field effect to it. Uh, in here we work out the the circle of confusion as well as the depth after the focal plane uh, equation. Uh, I then created a for loop for the amount of put on disk points that we have, which was 12. And in here we add the offset the circle of confusion, the blur together to finish off making the blur, and then we output the average color. Okay, that's pretty much what our paths were, and this is all the technique uh, that we have. And down here we have the technique which uses the render target and the passes. So pass 1 was about vertex and scene shader, pass 2 was light, and then pass 3 was depth of field. Now if we move over to here and I make this bigger, we can look at the depth of field in action. So if I were to move closer, you can see that the four objects behind are still a bit blurry, while this one is coming into focus, and you can see it's very clear. And then if we move more closer, it starts to blur, and this one come into focus. So if we do this, you can see now this is in focus now, while the near and the far one is blur. And then if we were to go further, now the new near is blurry, and the new focus one is um, is being focused. So if I move this down and go up to, oh, we can like play around with all these functions. So if we go to here and let's say we want to make our blur even more, and then go here, you can see that it would be it only come to focus for a short time and then go back to blur. Uh, go back up to here, change that back to, and if we change the focus, it make everything more focused. And then like if we go down here, everything is a bit more blurry. So like the focus distance is more blurry now. So if we go back to the normal one, if we go to here, this like great rest, so it normally should be high for the far away, and then the near one should be low. And that pretty much part 1 done. I'll go back to do part 2 about bloom.